Welcome back to the Boostly podcast, and this is a book review of Profitable Properties by Mr. Danny Rusteen. When the book was announced that it's going to be coming out, I was one of the first to put the pre-releases in because I was a massive fan of the first book, which was Optimize Your B&B by Danny Rusteen, and that's probably about 7 years old. This is a really nice book to accommodate this, and I'm going to go into reasons why throughout this video, this podcast episode. But before we go any further, I just wanted to say thank you so much to every single one of you who has tuned in to this podcast over the last 7-8 years, because we've just recently started to hit over 100,000 downloads every single month, which is unreal. We've got such a large listenership over in America, obviously in the UK, but we're also now starting to get more people tune in from Australia, from New Zealand, South Africa, Middle America, even South America, and the rest of Europe. And hello to the 3 people who currently tune in from Japan. It's amazing to see so many people from around the world that are currently picking up this podcast. The video version as well. So YouTube, we're about to surpass 5,000 subscribers. Currently getting around 40 to 50,000 views every single month, which for when I first started doing Boostly, we had about a handful of people tuning in. To grow to the numbers that it is unreal. But it also gives me the confidence that more people want to find out about direct booking, about growing your hospitality business, your brand, without just solely relying on Airbnb. And this brings me really nicely back to Profitable Properties in Danny's book. So if you don't know how to find it, go type in Profitable Properties on Amazon. And I've known Danny, so disclaimer, I have known Danny since 2019. We met in person in Bali. I was working at a resort on a 6-month contract, and I saw from Instagram Danny was in Bali, and we invited him to come to the resort to give just a breakdown on the property. We did a real good contra deal. He had a stay, and we got to tap into his advice about Airbnb, because he is one of the best on this whole platform when it comes to Airbnb. He used to work there. He is a massive fan of the platform. He has stayed in Airbnbs consistently over the last 3 or 4 years. Nobody knows that platform better, in my opinion, than Danny. And when his first book came out, Optimize My B&B, which is obviously talking about your Airbnb business, it went down really well. It sold over 75,000 copies from top of my head. And again, one of the go-to books. And this book, for me personally, I was really happy that he put this together, because those of you that have read it or are reading it, you will know that chapter 6 in this book, let me just scroll to it right now, is all about direct booking. So it starts on page 297. And I, for one, never thought that Danny would be writing a chapter on direct bookings, but I would like to think that I've had a little say in this, a little sway in this, if anything, from the constant direct messages, the constant WhatsApps, the constant keeping talking about it, to be able to point him in the direction. And again, full disclosure, we have been working together on and off for his Belmonte penthouse property that he has set up in Colombia, in Medellin. When he first put it together, we put together a very simple 1-page Boostly website just to show him what it would look like. He then went on and hired another developer, and he talks about it in the book in here, which is absolutely fair. But at the same time, any direct bookings that were coming in, any questions that were coming in, I'd get a WhatsApp. And I remember getting his first WhatsApp when the first direct booking came in. And, and it is invigorating. It is thrilling. It is, feels like more of a win when you get that direct booking. And to have this chapter in the book, and again, coming up with some solid suggestions, a part of the process, is definitely one to check out. My favorite chapter, though, is the one where it's talking about property manager. 4.9, so page 253 to 267. Do you need a property manager, and how to choose a good property manager? Danny knows his audience really well, and he knows there's a lot of people who will read this book that will maybe have 1 property, or maybe even 2 properties. They own those properties, and then maybe deciding whether they want to get into this hospitality lark, this short-term rental lark, or are they just looking for total passive income? And there are so many people who do that. Maybe they come into it going, yeah, I want to give it a go. You know, maybe I'm in between careers. Maybe it is that you're just part of that in your life cycle where you wanted to try something new. You may be lucky enough to have a second property that you own, or maybe there's an opportunity that's come up through a family member, etc., and you want to go down the route of short-term rentals. But then you quickly decide that, hang on a second, this is a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I want to hand this off to a expert. And that chapter in itself, that little segment, I really thought that, hang on a second, this is fantastic advice for everybody here, because we're going to get to a point in time in 2023, 2024, where people who got into this industry when it was at its peak, 2021, 2022, are currently going, well, hang on a second, this is a lot harder than I thought. I don't want to be, you know, totally taking my eye off this other career that I have, or this other big project. I want this to be totally passive, and I want to hand it over to a property manager. Very good chapter on there. And a lot of the other things that we talk about in here, pricing, getting set up, getting started, amenities, features, you know, it's stuff that Danny is talking about a lot on his channel. Loads of people have talked about on their channels, but having it in this solid book, which again is, you know, 400 pages deep nearly, is a really good resource. Like I say, for me personally, what I love about this book is that it's a natural progression in Danny's career. The book that he put together in whenever that was 7 years ago, that's a different Danny to the Danny that we have today. And like I say, when I first met him, he was Mr. Anti-direct bookings. You know, he put a very good argument ahead about why he should solely focus on Airbnb. But, you know, I've stayed persistent, as I have with many other people in this industry, to sort of show them the good side, show them the direct booking side, and about building a brand that's not just on an Airbnb land. And, you know, what I got out of reading this book is that, you know, again, full disclosure, I know Danny, the progression in who he is as a person, as a business owner, and a host is fantastic for me to see. So great book. Go and check it out. I managed to get it fully read in about 2 weeks, and I was doing it in little stints here and there, reading a chapter every morning, or reading like a couple of pages every morning, 10 to 11 pages every morning. Really good book. So from me to everybody who is watching this, please do go and check it out. And if you are wondering in the direct booking section which company Danny recommends to go and work with, then I don't think it's too hard to figure out who. So again, thank you so much for watching this. Thank you so much for being part of all of this. And if you could just do me a massive favor, if you have come across here from Danny's World or just found it on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you download the podcasts. Make sure you share this with a host who could need your help. It's easy to do. You can grab it, you can share it, you can post it in Facebook groups, send a WhatsApp to somebody, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much for everybody for doing so. I'll be back with another episode in another 2 days' time. We do episodes every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Friday on audio and visual as well. If you're not checking out the socials, it's Boostly UK on Instagram. And if you want to go check out our website, it's boostly.co.uk. Back soon.
Having a blast, gonna get it on the Boostly podcast. Boostly like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loose.